Tonight on Connecticut's news station, 2 schools on lockdown for a period of the day over gun concerns. We're hearing reaction.
And one city trying out cameras on school buses. Why school leaders say it's needed to improve safety.
Plus, crews continue their search for 2 missing boaters. We'll have an update and show you the equipment that crews are using to try to locate them.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Bridget Bjorlo.
And I'm Brent Harden. Windsor and Bloomfield high schools went on lockdown at the same time today after reports of a possible gun on each campus. Both were given the all clear and there are no reports of anyone getting hurt.
Parents at Windsor High say it took around 90 minutes, though, for them to be notified about the lockdown that took place. Most of them finding out from their own teenagers who texted them with updates as police searched the area for what parents say was a possible armed student.
I don't even know. I'm still upset.
Parents say a possible armed threat sent high schools in Windsor and Bloomfield on lockdown Thursday.
When we got here, the police came out and explained to us that 2 students had gotten into an altercation. One student threatened to shoot the other student and shoot up the whole school.
The message to teenagers at Windsor High.
You should remain in your classrooms. You can teach as normal. However, we need to keep the hallways clear. At this time, police department are going door to door.
Students sheltered in class until police ruled out the threat as teachers continued with their lesson plans and worried parents waited for updates.
Just hearing yesterday the school shooting in Georgia, that's why I just rushed over here. So.
Families Fox 61 spoke to during the lockdown say they left work early to pick up their children from school, expressing frustration that it took 90 minutes for school officials to alert them about the police activity on campus.
I think they could have did better with communicating to the parents, but it's just like to find out like hours later, like that's what kind of angers me.
I was nervous, and I feel like because we still haven't gotten like a robocall or anything, so to find out the way I found out wasn't good for me.
Many of them thankful to communicate with their students over text.
Because if my kids didn't have their cell phones, I wouldn't have known.
It gives us peace of mind to know that our kids are okay. Like sometimes just hearing your child's voice can get you through.
Christina Loney has a different perspective. She was in the school's front office when the report came in.
It was scary. It was scary, but administration dealt with it in a timely manner and got everybody to safety.
And tonight, Bloomfield police are providing some answers into what happened. Writing a part, quote, the preliminary investigation indicates that the suspect student boasted as to possessing a gun and hoaxed fellow students. It remains unclear tonight why 2 schools a town away from the other both went on lockdown today around the same time. But we can report that police spent the afternoon combing through the area for any possible hidden weapons, and so far they found nothing. Meantime, Bloomfield police is working to determine whether any charges will be filed against the student in question, and we are waiting to confirm a video of a student appearing to be detained. So we'll have that for you, more details later tonight.
We're learning new details tonight about the suspected gunman who killed 4 people at a Georgia high school. Police say the 14-year-old was interviewed by police last year after he was linked to a school shooting threat made on the social media platform Discord. The teen told a sheriff's investigator he would never say such a thing, even in a joking manner. Investigators say they just didn't have enough evidence to make an arrest at the time.
He was 13 years old. He's a juvenile, and none of the possible charges at the time would have applied to a 13-year-old under Georgia law. A murder does.
Now, the teen is being charged with murder and will be tried as an adult. He's accused of opening fire using an AR platform-style weapon, killing 2 14-year-old students, Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Angulo, and 2 teachers, Richard Aspinwall and Christina Irimi. And of course, here in Connecticut, we are no strangers to deadly school gun violence. And in the 12 years since the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, the state continues to grieve like Georgia is now, while also passing some of the most comprehensive gun safety laws in the nation.
Fox 61's political reporter Emma Wolfhorst is in the studio now with us. Local lawmakers and activists are pointing to Connecticut's prevention policies. What lessons are they taking away, Emma?
Well, Bridget, Brent, in many ways, Connecticut is really the legislative blueprint here, ranking 4th in the country for gun safety laws, according to the National Activism and Policy Group, Every Town for Gun Safety. In the past decade, the state has expanded its assault weapons and high-capacity magazine prohibition, background check requirements, and continues to be a leader in preventing gun violence. Recently, the state enacted a suite of new gun safety policies, including expressly prohibiting open carry of firearms in public, bolstering the secure firearms storage law, and strengthening dealer licensing requirements. On the other hand, Every Town ranks Georgia 46th for gun law strength, allowing permitless carry and having no age restrictions for purchasing firearms. Appalachia High School did have 3 armed resource officers, and 2 of them directly encountered the shooter soon after he began firing. Armed officers in schools, though, one of the most controversial discussions in Connecticut and across the country as of late. That decision here in Connecticut is made locally by Board of Education votes. So some Connecticut communities have armed officers and some others are still deciding. We also now know the 14-year-old Georgia shooter was on law enforcement's radar. He threatened to kill people at school last year, but was not arrested due to lack of evidence. Now, a person doesn't have to commit a crime or be arrested to be flagged as a high risk, but Georgia does not have any type of red flag law. Connecticut does. Some Georgia state lawmakers now saying a red flag law would have prevented this week's tragedy, while Connecticut officials say our risk protection orders need to be used even more. Connecticut's law allows anyone to contact law enforcement and gives them the power to remove someone's guns. Family members can also petition the court to do the same if they have concerns or see any sort of warning signs, but officials say it's an option that needs to be better known or else it doesn't work to stop these sorts of tragedies. You can find more information on the risk protection process on our website at fox61.com. The school shooting once again opening a familiar wound for Connecticut students and families. There are groups across the state with mental health and gun safety resources available. Bridget, Brent.
A story that will be top of mind for many. Thank you, Emma. New Haven police have made an arrest in connection to a homicide from back in July. Thomas Norfleet is accused of stabbing Shamar Gibson on Orchard Street July 6th. Gibson was driven to the hospital where we're told he later died. His family spoke today about how he'll be remembered.
He was always funny, always could make everybody laugh, could cheer the room up, and I just felt like he's gonna live through me no matter what, so I don't even feel like he's going for it. And I'm gonna just keep on being strong, just like my mom do.
And Chief Carl Jacobson thanking officers for their work to help bring justice to the Gibson family.
And all these officers working shorthanded, understaffed, and extremely hard in difficult times to make these arrests, because it's extremely important that we get justice for families like yours.
This was New Haven's 8th homicide of the year. That is down from 17 homicides this time last year. Switching gears now to our forecast, another fall-like day.
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frayne joining us now. Rach, bit of a mixed bag coming this weekend, but it's not bad.
It's not too bad. I think most of the time this weekend will be dry. We have moved up the timing of showers for Saturday, though, and it looks like later in the afternoon we can see a few, and that will last into Saturday night. But we are dry on Sunday, and not only that, but we're back to this. Blue skies. It's like fall in the morning, like late summer in the afternoon. We got a little something for everyone here. 76 in Hartford, 73 for the New Haven area. And once again, temperatures will be nice and comfy for sleeping tonight with that low humidity if you want to keep the windows open. We are in a squeeze play right now with a storm offshore and an approaching front, but in between, high pressure keeping us dry and sunny. As we head towards daybreak, there could be some areas of patchy fog, so a heads up about that. Otherwise, any early clouds or fog, break for some sun. I think it turns brighter by midday into the afternoon. Once again, we're looking at highs between 75 to right around 80 degrees, and a nice night tomorrow night. Heading into Saturday, it is a dry start but a wet finish. We'll talk all about your weekend forecast coming up.
All right, Rachel, talk soon. Thank you. Search and rescue crews are now on day 4 of looking for 2 missing men involved in a boat crash on Labor Day in Old Saybrook.
A third man, 34-year-old Chris Hallahan of Westbrook, has been identified as one of the people found dead on scene.
Fox 61's Julie LeBlanc joining us now live from Saybrook Point with more. Julie, what's the latest?
Hi, good evening to you both. Well, despite it being day 4 of this operation here, we still saw a steady police presence and fire presence on boats out on the Connecticut River here, searching up and down, looking for any sign of the 2 missing men. Now, DEEP officials tell us they have at least 8 different state and local agencies out on the water and up in the air using helicopters, dive teams, and even underwater robots. We got a close look at some of that technology called a remote operated vehicle, which is being used by the Tapville Fire Department. Now, we are told it's equipped with cameras and sonar capabilities, which can scan murky waters. Now, in the meantime, we continue to see family and friends of the 9 people involved in the crash waiting anxiously at a nearby marina. And in speaking with locals stopping by the water today, you can just feel how heavy this weighs on this close community.
Oh, definitely. I don't think there's anyone that I've spoken to that hasn't brought it up and is feeling just the same thing. You know, a sense of personal loss, even though we don't know the people, but it's just part of this whole area in the community.
Now, we learned yesterday that 34-year-old Chris Hallahan of Westbrook was one of the victims found dead at the scene Monday. The first selectman tells us he ran a family construction business and was heavily involved in his community. Now, as of yesterday, the operator of the boat was still listed in critical condition, but police haven't given any updates on his condition today. Now, back out here live, DEEP officials tell us that they do plan to continue searching until at least sunset and pick things back up tomorrow morning. Now, as for when they might call this search off, we haven't heard anything about the timeline there just yet. We're live here in Old Saybrook tonight. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Julia, thank you. We have an update now on the catastrophic flooding in the western part of the state. The Connecticut DOT is being awarded $3 million in quick release funding to repair the roads and bridges that were destroyed and washed away. The funds will assist in the ongoing efforts to fix those roads that have been underway since the initial impact of the storm. Over the past 2 weeks, more than 20 roads have been reopened. Well, students in Oxford started school today after that historic flooding delayed the first day.
The town and the school system had to check out all the damaged roads and then create all new bus routes for the kids.
Fox 61's Kay Pattyfoot spoke to an Oxford teacher a few hours ago about how students are feeling. Kay.
The school year was delayed about a week as the town recovers and repairs roads. Fox 61 was out there this morning as students arrived. Now, the main change will be with the bus stops. Normal stops may be blocked due to road closures or detours. Instead, there will be community bus stops with more students at each one. Today, I spoke with Heather Rosum, a 5th grade teacher at Great Oak Elementary, who is also a parent. She says there is a solidarity feeling throughout the schools, and students know they aren't alone in how they may feel.
One of the kids was like, "Oh, so you were the house that your entire basement was full of water." I said, "Yeah, that's me." What's nice about Oxford is we're such a great community that we all help each other out. So many people know so many people in this town that you're bound to run into someone that has heard about what you've gone through or that has helped someone that you know.
Heather says you could see how excited the students were to be back at school and that the students found comfort in sharing their own stories from the flooding. In the studio, Kay Pattyfoot, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.